Hey everybody, Shawn Valentino, your host on the Red Carpet Movie Review. Today we're going to review the top 10 movies of 2019. And since right now we're in the middle of 2000 quarantine, these are a perfect set of films for you to escape while you stay at home.
Ladies and gentlemen, live from Hollywood, California, welcome to the Red Carpet Review, starring the Showstopper, Shawn Valentino. Also starring Rich Twilling. Today, we review the top 10 movies of 2019. Live from the red carpet. Watch The Bachelor Party on YouTube.
Hey everybody, Shawn Valentino, your host on the Red Carpet Movie Review, and right now we're going to go through my list of the top 10 movies of 2019. Now 2019 was an interesting year at the movies because you had a mix of big blockbusters like Star Wars and the Avengers with a lot of original entertaining films, and that's really what I'm going to focus on this list, is the original entertaining films, because typically the top 10 critics lists are usually comprised of a lot of stuffy independent drama and artsy Oscar films, and I've never really enjoyed those types of movies. This list is going to be comprised of 10 movies that are going to give you an escape from reality and also an escape from your quarantine. So ready or not, let's get started. And coincidentally, at number 10 on my list is Ready or Not. And I thought this was one of the most entertaining, fun movies I've seen all year, and it was just a completely original film. This movie is about a beautiful young bride who marries into this wealthy family, and when she arrives at her groom's estate, she realizes that all her in-laws are trying to kill her. And it's just a great premise, just a lot of fun to watch. I thought Samara Weaving looked a lot like Margot Robbie. They could be twin sisters almost, and that's a good thing because Margot Robbie, one of the most beautiful women in the world. And what I loved about this film, it was just fun, and it had this lighthearted feel, but it also had a gruesome sense of horror as well. So it was a mix of horror and comedy and satire, but most of all, it proved that marriage can be murder. Now at number 9 on my list, we're going to completely shift tones to one of my favorite films and one of my most anticipated movies of the year, and that is A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. And A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood stars Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers, the iconic TV character that a lot of us grew up with. So this movie had a huge sense of nostalgia for many of us, including me, who watched Mr. Rogers growing up. And I thought Tom Hanks was absolutely perfect in showcasing the inspirational story and philosophy of Mr. Rogers. So this movie really focuses on a slice of life where Mr. Rogers is interacting with this journalist who is assigned to do an article on American heroes, and he's assigned to interview Fred Rogers, and he has no idea what to expect. So I think this movie just does a great job of showcasing the philosophies of Mr. Rogers in the context of this story, and it's just one of the most heartwarming movies that you'll see all year. Definitely check it out, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. And now on to number 8 on our list, and number 9 on our list had a lot of nostalgia, and number 8 is going to be no different because it is the Lego Movie 2, a second part. And I think the Lego movies are one of the best franchises out there right now because not only are they entertaining and fun to watch, they take you back to your childhood because many of us played with Legos growing up, many still do. But I think what makes these movies so good is they have great stories that are completely original, and they do a very, very good job of incorporating current pop culture, and they're written for adults. Even though they appeal to children, they're written with a lot of intelligence, and these are smart movies. I know a lot of these recent comic book movies, I'm thinking about movies like Thor Ragnarok and Aquaman, they're just aimed at the lowest common denominator. They're pretty much written for complete idiots. The sense of humor is just really lame and cheesy, but these movies are funny but without trying to be funny, and that's the best type of humor. So the Lego Movie, the second part, definitely lives up to the Lego franchise, and one of the best scenes of the year was a musical number called Gotham City Guys. Just hilarious, just spot on commentary, and just a lot of fun, and that's what this movie is. Definitely check out the Lego Movie, second part. Now on to number 7 on our list, and one of my favorite genres of movies is Christmas movies. And this past Christmas, there was one particular movie I was really looking forward to, and it was Last Christmas. And Last Christmas is based around a George Michael song, Last Christmas, which is an absolute classic. And ironically, obviously, Michael ended up dying on Christmas, which is just a real tragedy because he's one of the great singers of all time and one of the icons of the 80s. Mike always kind of reminded me of a modern day James Dean. He just had this aura of coolness about him. And I thought that this movie did a great job in incorporating some of his best music into the context of a feature film. And I thought it just told a very heartwarming story. I really don't even want to give a spoiler out on this movie, but it's about a young girl who's going through an emotional crisis. And within the context of this film, during Christmas time, she kind of has this angelic figure come into her life and turn her life around. And it's just very mysterious. It's a lot of fun. There's some twists and turns. And what I liked best about it was obviously George Michael's music incorporated throughout the film. But even better, it wasn't contrived. It didn't feel forced. It felt like his music really enhanced the film. And I thought this was one of the best original stories of 2019. Definitely check out Last Christmas. Now on to number 6 on our list, and this was actually a movie I never even heard of coming into the year, and I didn't even see it until it came out streaming, and this was Brian Banks. And Brian Banks was just an amazingly well-written film, and I thought this was one of the best movies that I've ever seen about the American justice system. And me being a lawyer, that really appealed to me. And also this film was kind of an anti-Me Too film, which I was really happy to see because you want to see the other side of the story about these people that are being falsely accused. And that's what this movie is about. It's about a young football player who is falsely accused of rape. And he's in high school and he has dreams of the NFL, and he sees these dreams crashing down as a young girl falsely accuses him of rape. And I thought this movie did a really good job of showcasing the importance of due process, and it really showcased the triumph and will of the human spirit. And I thought the Brian Banks character was just a really inspirational character, and I thought this movie was just beautifully told. It was very well acted, really well written, extremely intelligent, and again, one of the best movies that I've ever seen about the American justice system. Definitely check out Brian Banks. Now from the world of football to the world of Disney, and this is one of my favorite movies, one of my anticipated movies of the year, and that was Aladdin. Now I'm a huge fan of the cartoon Aladdin, like many of you are, and I had no idea what to expect going into this one. My expectations were pretty low, which probably helped, but I thought this movie was just really well done. I thought the young guy that played Aladdin just nailed it. I thought he did a really good job of playing this Aladdin character and capturing the spirit of Aladdin, and this character has a certain appeal to me because I was Aladdin at Disneyland before, as you can see in the photos behind me, so that was really cool to see Aladdin brought to life. And I kind of always related to this Aladdin character, about this freewheeling young playboy who just travels the world and wants to show beautiful young women a whole new world of adventure. And I thought the real heart of this film was the woman that played Princess Jasmine. Naomi Scott here was just luminous, she was stunning, and I thought this movie was a perfect example of a modern day retelling of a classic story, but not trying to be too contrived. And one of the things I hate about modern movies is these social justice warriors just taking over and just having a lot of contrived casting and trying to force feed you with these different views and being way too preachy. Now this movie didn't do that. I thought this movie showcased a powerful character in Princess Jasmine, but at the same time it was really based around the adventures of Aladdin, and one of the most fun movies of the year, and obviously the whole new world musical sequence, one of the best scenes I've seen at the movies all year. Now from the world of Disney to the world of DC Comics, and this was another one of my most anticipated movies of the year, and that was Joker. And Joker, I thought, had one of the best movie trailers that I've ever seen. And one of the things I've done in recent years, I completely stopped watching movie trailers because they just give away the entire movie, or they're just stuffed with really dumb, lame jokes, which the mindless audience is just laughing at, and it's just an embarrassment. So I stopped watching trailers, and this movie lived up to the hype. I thought that Joaquin Phoenix gave one of the best movie performances that I've ever seen. This movie was obviously beautifully directed, and it was also showcased in the style of a gritty urban adventure like Taxi Driver or The King of Comedy. Obviously you could tell this movie was heavily inspired by Martin Scorsese, who was one of the producers of the film, but best of all, it kind of reminded me of one of my favorite movies, and that was American Psycho. And this movie was really at its heart a journey through the mind of a psychopath, and it was the origin story of a supervillain, and which is something I don't think we've ever seen before in movies, and this movie just did a fabulous job. Definitely check out Joker, one of the best movies of the year. Now on to number 3 on my list. While Joker was one of my most anticipated movies of the year, the number 3 movie on my list I actually never even heard of coming into the year, and it turned out to be probably the biggest surprise of the year and one of the best movies of the year, and that was Knives Out. Now, I'm a huge fan of classic detective films. I love whodunit type movies you saw based on Agatha Christie stories, and also film noir from the 1950s. You really don't see that genre coming to screen anymore, and I don't understand why, because it's probably one of the most entertaining genres in the history of movies, and some of the best movies that we've ever seen were kind of based around that whodunit genre. And I thought this movie did a fabulous job of bringing this genre into the modern day with very relevant pop culture references, but without being too contrived or preachy. So I thought this was just a fabulously told movie. I thought that Daniel Craig was amazing as Benoit Blanc. This might be his next franchise after the James Bond series. And best of all was Ana de Armas, a beautiful Latina actress. And not only was she beautiful, she was just the heart of this picture. She just made you really sympathize with her, and you really wanted to follow her journey. I thought she did a great job, and this is just a great modern day whodunit detective story. Definitely check out Knives Out, one of the best movies of the year. And now on to number 2 on our list, and while Knives Out was a throwback to some classic Hollywood cinema, number 2 was literally a tribute to classic Hollywood cinema, and that was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, directed by Quentin Tarantino, starring Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio. DiCaprio and Pitt have never been better. I thought that this was the best performance of Brad Pitt's career, and that's saying a lot because he's probably one of the biggest movie stars of all time. He's never been cooler. He's channeling his inner James Dean here, and he was just amazing in this picture. DiCaprio, probably the best actor of his generation. He's also amazing here. But obviously this is a Quentin Tarantino movie, so it's really showcased around Quentin Tarantino, and I thought he did a great job of taking us back in time to the golden age of Hollywood. And you could tell that this movie was told through his eyes as a child and the Hollywood he grew up watching. And I thought that this movie did a wonderful job as being a time capsule into that era. And my favorite scene in this movie was the Playboy Mansion scene. Playboy Mansion was basically my home away from home, and Hugh Hefner was alive, so it was great to see the mansion brought back in all its glory. And probably my favorite performance of the movie was Margot Robbie as Sharon Tate. Sharon Tate, one of the most beautiful women in the history of Hollywood, and I thought Robbie did a great job of capturing her essence. She's kind of like an angel come to earth in this movie, and I guess that's what Sharon Tate was like in real life. So this movie is not only a perfect tribute to classic Hollywood cinema, it's also a perfect tribute to Sharon Tate. So definitely check out Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, my number 2 film of 2019. And now, the moment we've all been awaiting, the number 1 film of 2019 on the red carpet. And while Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was a tribute to classic cinema, the number 1 movie on this list is destined to be a cinema classic, and that was The Bachelor Party, Episode 1, The Bachelor Parody, The Playboy's Impossible Mission. And yeah, that title is a mouthful, but this movie is just an incredible blending of different genres. It was marketed as The Bachelor meets Mission Impossible meets Naked Gun, and I thought this movie really lived up to that hype. I don't really watch The Bachelor, but I know The Bachelor means a lot of beautiful women, and this movie gives you plenty of beautiful women. There's about 50 or 60 models in this movie, and I thought the acting in this movie was just incredible. I thought every girl was just incredibly likable. They're obviously playing stereotypical characters. You have the dumb blonde, you have the nerdy girl that's really the hot girl, you have the spicy Latina, you have the bad girl, you have the snooty European. All these actresses do an amazing job, and I thought the real heart of this movie was a lead performance by Rich Twilling as Count Rich Serling, who plays he kind of plays this Unsolved Mysteries Robert Stack, Rod Serling type character. Obviously the character was inspired by Rod Serling. I thought that Twilling did a great job in adding an aura of mystery to this movie, and he should have been nominated for a Best Actor. And I also thought the fact that Tremaine Hayhill, the visionary young director of the classic horror film Rideshare, the motion picture, now available on YouTube, I thought it was an absolute travesty that he wasn't nominated for an Oscar, because he's just brilliant here in seamlessly blending multiple genres that you would never imagine coming together. I mean, you have a spy thriller meeting a Bachelor movie, meeting Naked Gun, and I really am a huge fan of those Naked Gun airplane parody movies, and I thought this was one of the best parody films that I've ever seen. And even movie critic Richard Roper, I thought, said it best. I'm going to insert a clip right here.
Spy films and The Bachelor, so I think this is going to be a parody of those two combined. Genius!
Exactly, this movie really is a stroke of genius, and I think this is a movie you definitely don't want to miss. And obviously you can't have a Bachelor movie without the Bachelor, and I thought the Bachelor in this movie, while he might not be the most likable character, you really want to follow his journey. There's something about him, he's got this aura of coolness and mystery, and you really want to live vicariously through this character and through his adventures. And he's just surrounded by beautiful women, he's traveling the world on private jets and exotic cars. It's just the ultimate fantasy. It's almost like watching a James Bond movie. And if you want a perfect movie to escape quarantine, you should watch The Bachelor Party Episode 1, The Bachelor Parody, The Playboy's Impossible Mission, and you'll accomplish your mission of escaping quarantine into the lifestyle. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click that like button, press subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the red carpet.
Watch The Bachelor Party on YouTube. Thank you for watching the Red Carpet Review. Proceed to click that like button and press subscribe for weekly movie reviews past and present. We'll see you soon on the red carpet.